Hello. Okay, so for this video, we're going to go over your study guide. And your study guide was not a required assignment, but it was a good idea for something for you to look at prior to you taking your major summative. So the first part of your study guide was just the review. You can also look at your notes. I added in the divisibility rules for you. The first part is ratios. While ratios are not going to be on your major summative, it might be on your ratios retake for some of you, which is why we included it in the study guide. So for the first few, you have to write the ratio all three ways. And it says the number of triangles to the total number of shapes. So it's triangles to total. There's one triangle to 8 total. So I get a 1:8 and 1:8. So that's the first answer. The number of squares to the number of triangles. So there are 4 squares to 1 triangle. 4:1, 4:1. The number of triangles to the number of squares. There's one triangle to 4 squares, so 1:4 and 1:4. The number of triangles to the number of circles. There's one triangle to 3 circles, 1:3, 1:3. The number of circles to the number of total shapes. So there are 3 total shapes to 8, 3 circles to 8 total shapes, so 3:8 and 3:8. And then the last one is the total number of shapes to the squares. There are 8 total to 4 squares. And if you simplified, that's fine. If you didn't, here's your answers for the unsimplified version. If you did simplify, you would have come down to 2/1, and then you would have gotten 2:1 and 2:1. Both are correct answers. It didn't ask you for it to be simplified for this one, so either one is okay with me. All right, let's look at the next part. So the next part was your fraction decimal percent review. The first part you had to convert between fractions, decimals, and percentages. So it says turn that 1/5 fraction into a percentage. So I'm going to use the equivalent fraction method where I'm going to change it to a denominator of 100 because 50 easily goes into 100. And I'm going to multiply this times 2 times 2. And 1 times 2 is 2. So anything over 100 is automatically a percent. So I get 2% for this. And then I can take my decimal point, which is right here because it's a whole 2, and I'm going to go away from the percent sign 2 spaces. 1, 2. 0 goes here. So I get 0.02. I can also look at this and see this is 2/100ths here. There's no whole number, so 0's here because there's no whole number from the fraction. And then the 2 has to go out to the little hundredths place, which is right there, and fill in everything else with zeros. For this one, I had to take that 0.04, and I'm going to write it so it's a little bit bigger. And I need to turn it to a fraction and to a percentage. I'm going to turn to a percent first, since I know any percentage is out of 100. To do that, I'm going to find my decimal point and go towards where the percent sign goes. So that becomes 4%. And I know anything out of 100 is a percentage. So this is actually 4/100 as a fraction. And then I can simplify that, and I can actually simplify by 4. And if I simplify numerator and denominator by 4, I get down to 1/25. Make sure you simplify. It does say simplify if needed. For number 11, it says Helena read 0.56 of the book. What fraction of the book did she read? Well, I can look at this as place value. The 1 goes under the whole number and the zeros go after. So I can see that's 56/100ths. They're both even. I'm actually going to try dividing by 4. You can do 2 twice. You can do 4. Either one works. And then you get down to a fraction of 14/25. So that should be your final answer for that one. And then number 12, Gwen got 5 correct on Monday night's homework and 4 correct on Wednesday night's homework. What is the fraction representing the total number of incorrect out of 12? So a lot of people will get this one wrong because they compare the correct to 12, but they actually want the incorrect. So if I get correct 9, and I know there's total of 12, how many were incorrect is the question we have to answer first. And if I look at that 12 and if I subtract 9, I'm left with 3 that are incorrect. So my ratio of incorrect to 12 is going to be 3 out of 12. And then I can simplify that down, divide by 3, numerator, denominator, and I'm left with 1/4. So be careful with ones like that. A lot of people miss that one because it says incorrect out of 12. All right, and now I'm going to jump down to the bottom where those percent grids were. So the first one that's there, I'm going to start with it as a fraction. This is a 10 grid, so there are 10 pieces, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are shaded, so 5/10. You don't need to simplify for these ones. That's 100% okay. The decimal for 5/10, the place value, is right behind the decimal point, so that's going to be 0.5. And then the percentage, you could either take 5/10 and make it a denominator of 100, or you could move that decimal point 2 places towards where the percent sign goes. Either way, you'll end up with 50 over 100, which is 50%. For the next one, that's on a 100 grid. So the fraction is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 over 100, which is going to be 0.15 because this 5 is in the hundredths place. And then remember, anything out of 100 is automatically a percentage, so that's 15%. And then the last one we're going to look at is this one. This is also on a 100 grid. This is 10, 20, 32 out of 100. And when you're looking at the hundredths place, that is 2 places right behind the decimal point, so it just becomes 0.32. And remember, anything that has a denominator of 100 is automatically a percentage, so this is 32%. Make sure that you take the time either to email your teacher or to ask during class if you're still having problems with fraction decimal percent or anything that we went over covering ratios.